Hey, everybody, this is Helena Hart. Welcome to the Master Your Magnetism podcast, where I bring on top experts to help you create the life and relationship you've always wanted. Today, I'm talking with Matt Shaffer again, my good friend and fellow coach. He's a relationship, empowerment, and connection coach for women. Welcome, Matt. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Helena. It's so nice to be back. I always love being on your channel and connecting with your amazing audience. So much fun.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned my channel. We're actually recording this as a video for YouTube as well. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else, and you'd like to see a video of this episode, I'll include that in the description or episode details. And today we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why a man might be afraid to love you or fall for you and what to do about it. Right, Matt?
Exactly. Yeah. Men have a lot of fears. And I'm not sure women always necessarily understand all the blocks and obstacles that we face on the road to love. So I thought this was an important topic.
Absolutely. I was actually just doing a live stream right before we started recording this over on my channel, and I kept getting this question over and over, what to do if a man's afraid to commit or fall in love. And I kept thinking, I'm just about to record a video on this. So what is that first reason? I'm really excited to learn these myself.
Okay, so the first reason is one of the main reasons men are afraid to love you or afraid to connect with you is because they're afraid to approach you. Men have a lot of resistance to approaching and connecting with women. It is just something. I don't care how attractive they are. I don't care like what their income level is. Like most men, almost all men have resistance to approaching women, because we are afraid of rejection. We have a deep fear of rejection. And a lot of us, we have a deep insecurity, like regardless of where we're at in our lives or everything that's going on, or how confident we may seem externally, like we've got a lot of issues with approaching women. So that's a huge block that I think some women don't realize. They wonder why men aren't approaching them. A lot of times it's because we're afraid of getting shut down because it's happened to us in the past, and we don't want to deal with that.
Absolutely. I hear about that all the time. And I do want to mention you are actually opening up your free course once again to women in my community, Mastery of Connection. It's the #1 course I recommend to women, and it's totally free. Is there anything you want to say about that quickly? I just wanted to mention that before I forgot, and we'll talk more about that at the end too.
Absolutely. Yes. Mastery of Connection. We're starting February 6th. And this is going to be a 3-week live course with me and my team of coaches designed to help you revolutionize your relationships from the inside out. So we're going to help you have better relationships with men, with your family, with people in your life. And we're going to do that by helping you identify all the aspects of how you connect with people and improving them. So we're going to look at your personality type. We're going to help you master your attachment style. And you're going to get over 50 hours of live coaching with me to help you understand and connect better with the people in your life. So it's going to be an incredible experience. Plus, you're going to get over 15 video lessons that I've made for you personally. So it's an amazing group coaching experience, and it's going to be epic. So if you're going to click that link down below and join us on February 6th and have better relationships in 2023, this is your chance. It's absolutely free.
Totally free. That was my next question that I always get. It's free, right? Yeah, 100% free. #1 free course that I recommend. And no matter when you're listening to this, I know you open it up a couple times a year. So you might want to click that link just to see if it's still being offered for free anytime you're listening. So that'll be the first link in the description or episode details. I just wanted to mention that before we got too far into the content of this, but I'm loving everything you're sharing so far. What's the second reason why a man might be afraid to love you?
All right. So the second reason is that we assume that you are already in a relationship. Like a lot of times men will not want to approach you. They're not going to want to initiate with you because they've made up a story that you're not available, right? And this is part of the negotiation that men go through when a lot of times men are talking themselves out of approaching you because they have approach anxiety, fear of rejection, all the stuff I just talked about. But one of the big reasons that they don't approach you, or that they're afraid to connect with you, is because they create a story that you're already taken. And that can be because of a couple different reasons. It can just be because they think you're beautiful, therefore you must already be in a relationship, or maybe it's because you're hanging out with a group of friends and some of those friends are men. Like if you're hanging out with guys in a group or as friends, or it's family or something, they're going to just assume that that person that you're with is someone that you're connected to or in a relationship with, and so they don't want to get involved. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So you want to be conscious of like who you're around to make sure that you're necessary. If you're looking to connect with men, like be aware of who you're around, because they're going to use those men to create stories to talk themselves out of it.
That is so interesting. I love everything you're sharing here. And it's funny, I was talking with my husband the other night and we were joking around that if we hadn't met online, we met on Bumble, for those of you who don't know. And I sent the first message because that's what you have to do on Bumble. He said if we had just met in a grocery store or had been in the same grocery store or just out one night and I was with friends, there's no way we would have even ever met because he wouldn't have approached me. He's just not that kind of person that would assume that I would want to even be approached. He also said he would have had no idea that I were single and available and even interested in dating. So really, there's no way we would have actually met. Now, some men will approach, even if they don't know if you're single, right? But I think that's kind of a smaller percentage of men. So what can women do to turn this around? How do they actually show that they're available to be approached if they're out in public and that they're single and looking to date? Do you have any tips for women who want to convey that?
Absolutely. And the first thing, the check-in question to ask yourself whenever you're out in a public situation and you're looking to build, potential new relationships, is to ask yourself, am I demonstrating that I'm open to connection? Do I have the courage to, identify someone that, I'm attracted to and make eye contact with them? One of the greatest green flags you can give a man to approach you is to allow yourself to connect with him and to look at him and to wait for him to look back at you. The phrase I say a lot is like, throw me a freaking bone, like throw us a bone, like let us know that you're interested, because we've got so many stories in our head talking us out of it. Plus, we have a lot of pressure on ourselves because we know it's our responsibility. So if you're willing to just not initiate, but just to open the door of connection by looking at a guy, by smiling at him, by saying a first playful little phrase to him, by saying hi to him, that's not really initiating. All that is doing is opening the door of connection so that he can pursue and initiate with you fully. Right. And that sort of takes the edge off of our approach anxiety and lets us know that you're wanting us to connect with you. So it's really powerful. So it's important that just stay conscious of that and give us a shot.
That is perfect. So, yes, you want to lean back, you want to be in your feminine energy, but you also want to be open and receptive and make eye contact and smile with everyone who crosses your path and convey that you're open to meeting new people and things like that. I love that. That would really help alleviate number one and number two. So, I'm loving these tips you're sharing, Matt. What is the third reason why a man might be afraid to connect with you?
So now we're going to move to the next phase, right? The commitment phase. Those first two were sort of the attraction and initiation phase.
Mm.
Now, one of the reasons that men might be afraid to commit to you or to become emotionally invested in you is because they're afraid of letting you down. They're afraid that they're going to hurt you. We don't want to disappoint you. I'm telling you, like one of the big reasons that I struggled with relationship in my 20s was because I had a string of relationships that were they were short. They were 6 months, 8 months. And I ended up having to break up with my partner because I just wasn't feeling it or whatever reason. And it was very painful for me to do that. Like it was very painful to me to have to hurt somebody. I didn't like that, So because of that series of relationships that I went through, I ended up just trying to keep things casual with women in my later 20s, right? Because I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't want to let them down. And I thought that for whatever reason, I wasn't able to commit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a big reason why men might hold themselves back from being able to commit to you, is because they don't want to hurt you and let you down. And, that makes a lot of men feel really terrible when they have to go through that.
Absolutely. So, what can a woman do to let a man know that they don't have to be afraid of that?
Well, I think that one of the greatest ways to do that, one of the big mantras you want to remind yourself of, is that you have an incredible power to be a man's emotional sanctuary, to help create a sense of safety for him in emotional vulnerability, right? So you can help him understand by the way that you're communicating with him, by the way that you're showing up in the relationship. You just want to talk to him in a way to help him understand that commitment can be fun, that commitment can be freeing. Right. My dad told me as I was going through all this in my own life that he told me a phrase that I've carried with me for a long time, that there's freedom in commitment. right?
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
able to actually like be free and have more fun and have more play with a committed partner that has your back, really, than you can even on your own. Life can be a lot more fun. So being fun in relationship, being playful, being spontaneous, and helping him understand that commitment isn't a prison is a great way to help him understand that this commitment is safe and that it's a perfect thing for both of you.
Love it. Okay, this is great information, Matt. I'm loving this. So, what is the fourth reason why a man might be afraid to commit or connect or fall in love with you?
Yeah. So this is a big emotional block that a lot of men have, is that when we're dating someone, and one of the big blocks we'll feel from taking things to the next level is that we don't feel ready, that we're not ready for the relationship. We're not ready to be in a relationship because we have not achieved blank. We don't have enough money. We don't own a house yet. We haven't achieved this external, identifying thing that makes us ready to be in a relationship. And this is a lot of times fueled by our sense of unworthiness, right? So I want you to replace the word ready with unworthy. If a man says that he's not ready to be in a relationship, what he's really saying is, I'm not worthy to be in a relationship because I haven't gotten to where I feel I need to be in my life. It's a weird rule that men have, because a lot of our identity, a lot of times, is based upon our external accomplishments. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it can be a big block, and it's one of the ways we'll rationalize not getting into a relationship, is that we're not ready until we've made this much money or whatever. So it's a huge block for a lot of men.
It's so true. And that can be a really tough situation to be in, where you really love and care about someone and they love and care about you, but they're just not at a place where they're ready for that full on committed relationship. So, what advice would you have for a woman who's in that situation?
Well, I think this is an opportunity for you to operate as the conductor, right? And invite a man, because one of my big rules is that you, as the feminine in relationship, you are the conductor of the emotional and communicative aspects of that relationship, right? So you get to operate as the conductor and invite the man into vulnerability in this situation. And I think it's a great opportunity for you to ask him, okay, if he says, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, start off by asking him, okay, well, what does being ready look and feel like for you? Right? Get him to speak into that. Get him to speak into whatever limiting beliefs he's placed on his worthiness of relationship. Well, I'm not ready to be in a relationship until I'm in a financial place to be able to afford a wedding or support a family, or until I settle down, because I might have to leave for work or blah, blah. That was my big thing. I had a lot of stories that I couldn't be in relationship because I wasn't sure if I wanted to live in one place forever. I was sort of a bit of a gypsy. I was moving around a lot, so really I invite him to speak into whatever his understanding of ready is, and then let him know that you love him and you see him and you appreciate him, and he is enough just where he's at in his life. He doesn't need to have gotten that promotion. He doesn't need to own a house. He doesn't need to be in any particular place. Like, where he's at right now is enough for you, right? And you're not asking him to be more than who he is right now. Like, that unconditional sense of acceptance, I think, can a lot of times be a mirror for a man's own inherent worthiness, and help him understand that, he might have these fears or whatever about not being ready, but that he's enough just the way he is, which can be really healing for him, and help him understand his own inherent value as a man and as a partner.
Definitely. And I think it is important to mention that if you're just meeting a man and he's saying, I'm not ready for a relationship, and you're not in some kind of connection yet, it's important to believe him and don't get
Yes.
involved with a man like this. Because I think a lot of women hear that from men in the very early stages of dating. Oh, he's not ready. And he also might just be coming around because he likes the benefits she's giving to him. Right. And so she thinks that she
Yes.
just hangs in there and just shows him everything she has to offer and just kind of waits for him, that one day when he's ready, he's going to want to partner with her. But if he's really not interested, he's just saying, I'm not ready, because he doesn't want to have that straightforward conversation. Typically, men like that, when they become ready, they tend to partner with someone else who they were really
Yes.
feeling it for from the beginning. So, this, I imagine, would be for if you're with a man who has really shown you that he wants to be in a relationship with you and he does want to be committed to you. Do I have that right, Matt?
Yeah. Oh, if a man is saying this right off the bat, he's disqualifying himself for a relationship because he
Yes.
wants to, keep things casual, right? And he wants to
Hmm.
let you know up front that he's not available for a relationship. This is a different thing where you're with somebody and you've been dating that person and you've built a nice foundation for a relationship, but he's not able, he's feeling blocked from going into a deeper commitment because of his own identity. You know,
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
sense of readiness is an identity issue, right? For a lot of men because of their own sense of unworthiness. Like I wanted a relationship,
Right.
but I was disqualifying myself and saying that because I wasn't ready, because I wasn't in my lifelong career yet, or I didn't have enough money, I didn't have a lot of money and stuff. And those are stories that I had created and they weren't true. I could have been in an amazing relationship without having like a 6-figure income or whatever, So that's where there's an opportunity to have a vulnerable conversation and get to know your partner and potentially begin a healing process.
Absolutely. Right. I'm so glad we made that distinction. I love everything you're sharing here, Matt. What is the fifth reason why a man might be afraid to fall for you and truly commit?
Yeah, this is a big one, right? This one is, well, a lot of times we'll be afraid to fall in love, to become emotionally invested in you because of our past trauma around relationships.
Mm.
This is one of the biggest ones, right? And this can look a couple different ways. These are a couple of general ways this happens. The first is we have a lot of trauma around the relationships between men and women because of the relationship we witnessed between our parents.
Mhm.
Now, in my life, I was fortunate to have parents who love each other very much, who are still together. I'm at their house right now recording this video. I just came home for Christmas, right? But a lot of my friends had parents who had very, nasty divorces early in their childhood, right? And so when you see your parents at each other's throats for months or years, right, in a bitter marriage and a terrible divorce and everything, I watched that play out in my friends' relationships, and they would be very afraid of commitment. They would be very resistant to committing to anybody because for them, relationship and commitment equaled pain. It just did,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So parental relationships is one reason that fear can happen, and another one is early relationship trauma in our own lives, right? Because
Mhm.
while I didn't have parental relationship trauma, right, between my mom and dad, the first two women that I fell in love with when I was 18 and 19 years old, like deep, both broke my heart, right? I set myself up. They were not healthy partners for me to be emotionally invested in, right? But they ended up hurting me very deeply. And after those two women broke my heart, my first year of college, I just shut down emotionally, and I was not emotionally available for many years after that, and I would try to get into a relationship, but I couldn't open myself up emotionally to women for a long time, and so whether this trauma comes from parental relationship or early childhood or whenever, past trauma can be a huge emotional block to us being able to fall in love with you in a deep way.
That is so true. And that can apply to both men and women, right? So, what would you advise a woman to do if she's in a situation with a man where he's afraid to really fall in love and commit because he has past relationship trauma?
Now, this is another opportunity for you to sort of do what I talked about in the last point, but it's really to ask yourself, like, how can I cultivate a space of emotional safety for the man to help him change this story that vulnerability and intimacy equals pain? How can I be his emotional sanctuary, right? And the best way for you to do this is to hold space for him. And holding
Mm.
space is where you invite a man into vulnerability and let him know that you want to hear what he has to say and that you're not going to judge him or react against him for that, right? So if he's like scared, like if he's demonstrating, right, that he's really resistant and you've been dating for a while, but he's really resistant to becoming emotionally open with you, ask him ask him what his emotional blocks are. Ask him, like what fears are coming up for you that are holding you back from being able to meet me, in a deeper loving place. Like just go there with him, lead the way with vulnerability, and let him know, hey, I want to know what your blocks are. I'm finding myself catching deeper feelings for you, and I'm curious, is there something holding you back from meeting me
Mhm.
there? Because I would love to hear it. And it's important that you let a man know, if you're going to have this conversation with him, that you want to hear what he has to say, even if it might seem to be hurtful to you. And you have to let him know that you're not going to punish him for that, because what's happened for a lot of men is they've been asked to be vulnerable before, by their mom or by another woman in their life. And then when they opened up and they were vulnerable and they let that out, the woman reacted towards them angrily. She took it personally and she punished him for that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
So a
mhm.
lot of men are really scared to be vulnerable because they've been punished for it in the past. So it's important that you sort of like create a space, a safe space for him to be open and vulnerable and let him know that you're not going to punish him for it. And if you can do that and hold that space for him, you can help him get more, help him become more open and help him sort of like understand that it's safe for you guys to have these conversations, and you can help him heal, and get past that past trauma. And you can really save his life with that conversation.
I love that really straightforward approach of just having a conversation about it and being open and curious and asking what's going on. And if there's anything that you can do to help create that safe space for him, I think a lot of men will tell you straight up if they're available for a committed relationship or if they never see themselves getting into another relationship. Men are pretty honest about that right at the beginning, right? If you're able to hear that and have some of these tough conversations.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, really what this comes down to is like you two having like clear and vulnerable conversations to recognize if you're in alignment or not, if you want the
Mhm.
same things. And a lot of times men have had to play games because they've been in relationships and connections with women where playing games has been, just the way that it goes. Right. So it's helping a man recognize that relationship is not about manipulation and it's not about winning and losing. It's about coming together with someone that wants the same things as you. So if you're able to help him understand that, you're going to help him get past a lot of these fears that are keeping him from entering into the sort of love that at the end of the day, both of you want. We want to
Mhm.
be in love too. We really do.
Right. And if you're open and receptive like that, and a man doesn't meet you there and you're not in alignment, or if he is playing games, then you'll know for sure and you can move on. You can stop wasting your time. Right. So I'm loving this straightforward approach. Do you want to recap these 5 reasons and then anything else you'd like to say about this topic? I'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. So the first one is that these are approach fears, right? We are
Mhm.
afraid to approach because we have a fear of rejection. We have approach anxiety, right? And it's just a common thing, no matter what a man looks like, no matter how confident he may appear, he's probably got some butterflies or some deep fears about approaching you, right? So the best way for you to overcome that is to let him know that you're open to connection, right? Let him know that you're interested in him by making eye contact with him, by turning towards him, by playfully smiling at him, or saying a little playful hello or a phrase towards him, right? And the second thing is the second reason we're afraid to approach is because we assume that you're taken. Right. It's one of the biggest reasons why men are afraid to approach is we just make an assumption, right? Oh, well, she must be with that guy that she's standing with, or she's so beautiful, she must already be in a relationship. Like that's if Helena and her husband had met at a bar or had been at a bar together, I can almost guarantee you. And if I had been at the same bar with Callie, with my partner, and I had seen her from across the room, as beautiful as she is, I probably would have talked myself out of approaching her because I would
Mm,
assume that she was with somebody. Right.
wow.
So in both of
Yeah.
these situations, for the love of God, throw us a bone, say hi, let us know that you're interested, and then let us do the rest, right? We will
Mhm,
take the initiative. If we are relatively confident men, we will take
mhm.
the initiative once you give us the green light that you actually want to be approached, right?
Yeah.
And the third thing is we are afraid to commit a lot of times because we don't want to let you down. We don't want to disappoint you, right? Especially if we have a string of traumatic past breakups. We've broken the hearts of the last however many women we've been with, or we've just failed that relationship. We're just going to be like, oh, I can't get into another relationship. So let me just try to keep this casual. So that can be a big resistance point that a lot of men can have around relationship. And one of the greatest things you can do is take the pressure off for him, because we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves in situations like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, the fourth reason why men are afraid to open their heart and commit and become emotionally invested in you is because we don't feel ready. We don't feel ready to be in a relationship because we have not achieved X, right? We haven't achieved enough money. We haven't bought the house. We haven't decided if we want to live here forever, and a lot of times you want to replace the word ready. If a man's saying he's not ready and you've been together for a while, you replace the word ready with unworthy. We don't feel worthy. of being in a relationship with you because we haven't achieved these things, because these are the things, the rules that we've created for ourselves around what it means to be in a relationship, right? So if a man is saying, oh, I'm not ready because I haven't, gotten this promotion or haven't done this or that or the other, let him know, I'm not with you because of who you're going to be 5 years from now. I'm with you because I love who you are today, and I want to be in a relationship with you because of how I feel when I'm around you right now. You're enough, basically just the way you are, right? If you can mirror that back to a man who may be trying to talk himself out of it because he's afraid that he's not enough for you, a lot of times that can help him heal that worthiness wound and dive into a deeper relationship with you. Like it can really help. Right. And the fifth reason that men are afraid to love you is because we have had a lot of trauma from our own past relationships with women, right? We may have witnessed our mother and father have a very combative or toxic relationship, or we've had past trauma. We've had our hearts broken in the past. And so we've created a story that commitment equals pain. And when we create a story that commitment equals pain, a lot of times we're just going to not commit. So it's an opportunity for you to be a man's emotional sanctuary, help him understand that within commitment, there can be fun, there can be freedom, there can be play. It's not a death sentence. It doesn't have to be painful. And if you can teach a man that through giving him loving reference experiences time and time and time again, and inviting him into fun and love and play and being his emotional sanctuary, he'll start to hopefully drop his walls and open his heart to you in a deeper way. So these are the five, I think, biggest fears that men have that block them from being in relationship. And I just want you to know, like, as sort of a final thought on this subject, or one closing thought on this subject, that it is not your job to make a man to be ready to be in love with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you these points to help you get a window into what's holding men back from love, right? And you can make an invitation for a man to overcome them. And I hope that you do if he's a great guy, right? And also, you cannot force a man to be emotionally available. So if you can identify one of these, or if a man has been chronically resistant to being emotionally open and fall for you in the way that you're worthy of, right? You can't force him to do it. And a lot of times it is in your best interest to walk away. It's in your best interest to love you get to love yourself, right? More than someone who's unwilling to love you in the way that you desire. You know what I'm saying? So do your best, give it your best effort if he's worth that. But then, it can be a great act of self-love to walk away from a man who's just not willing to meet you there.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's so important. Yeah. So it's not about making excuses for a man or being overly reasonable or overly patient and understanding. I think a lot of women who are drawn to this work tend to be that way. They're so reasonable. They give a guy way too much benefit of the doubt, and he's not even showing up for her really at all. So this is for if you're with a man who's a great guy, his energy is generally coming towards you pretty consistently. He's not hot and cold or backing off or pulling away all the time, right? As soon as you start to get close, he starts to back off. If a man's doing that, you just want to drop him and move on. But if you're with a great guy and he's shown you that he wants to be a good partner to you, but he does have some of these fears or insecurities, I think what we shared in this episode will really, really help. So this was amazing, Matt. Thank you so much. And is there anything else you want to say about Mastery of Connection? Totally free course that you're offering to women in my community. It's my number one course I recommend to people who want to do personal development. And I just love that it's totally free right now. So anything else you want to say about that?
Absolutely. And just ladies, if you are looking to have just much better relationships and a deeper understanding of men, right? If you want to understand the way they think, the way they feel, and how to communicate with them in a deeper way and cultivate a more fulfilling relationship with the men in your life, as well as everybody else, this course, I guarantee you, if you sign up and you come along with us on this 100% free course, you will get the tools you need to have better relationships with men. You'll get 50 hours of live group coaching with me, 50 or more by the time it's all said and done. The third week, we do a lot of live workshops, and you're going to get video lessons that you can watch again and again and again to help you master your attachment style and understand your personality type, and help you really build a foundation to have better relationships for the rest of your life. So I worked with thousands of women from Helena's community, many of them, many thousands, and we'd love to have you there on February 6th when we get going. So I hope to see you there.
Great. So that'll be the first link in the description or episode details, wherever you're listening or watching this episode. This was amazing, Matt. I hope to bring you on again soon. Maybe we can do a live stream sometime soon over on my YouTube channel for women who want to dive deeper into some of these really important topics. This was amazing. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, my dear. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.